We're out here at the barn today, so we wanted to work on something today.
This right here is a small tree planter that my parents used when I was growing up. I was raised on a 100-acre tobacco farm and a tree nursery, and they would use this and sit on the ends, and they would put the little tree seedlings down through the middle of this that we grew in our greenhouse. And that's what this was used for, and they gave it to us when we got the farm because they didn't have a use for it anymore.
We don't do anything like that here, so I'm going to convert this into a ripper, and I'm going to put a piece of pipe on the back so I can lay some pipe so it'll feed through and put pipe down in the ground or whatever. The reason why I'm doing that is because I have fiber that I want to run from the house to the barn, and it's extremely long distance. So I don't want to do it by hand, nor do I want to rent an excavator. The easiest way is just to be dragging this thing and allow the fiber to roll off and then be buried into the ground. So fortunately, it looks like this whole unit that people sit on can actually unbolt and comes right off. So I'm not gonna have to do a whole lot of fabrication here, but that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. As you can see here, there's some chains holding up this piece right there, so those can come unbolted. And then there's just one bolt underneath here that's holding on the front part of that. And then it should just leave basically the ripper blade and this basket up top, which if I can come up with a holder, this should be able to hold the reel of fiber. And then I'm gonna run a piece of pipe down through here and roll it out this way. And then hopefully as I drag it through the ground, it'll unroll itself, go down into the pipe, and go into the ground. Well, that's the ideal anyway. Whether it'll work or not, I'm not sure. And if it works, it's gonna save me an immense amount of time. The reason why I want fiber optics out here is because I want to extend the internet. Our provider out here won't give me any kind of a deal to provide it to this barn. They want me to pay for a whole nother service, and I don't want to do that. But I can extend my router from the house over into here, basically have like a satellite router. So once I lay it, I can put on my connectors, run it into my router, and then I can have security out here. Well, that wasn't too bad. And basically right now, I just got a ripper. All I gotta do is add a pipe in the back. Okay, I found this blue pipe that I was gonna use. Kind of like to, for the fiber to run through it as it buries it, and I bent it. And I used a tire to do it, but I do have a small crease and it's kind of flat there. So I'm gonna see if I can put it in a vise and squeeze that back out. Okay, so I'm just doing some thinking here and planning. I wanna come up with a solution for something. So for one, here's my pipe. It's not a perfectly 90 degree, but I think it should work. You can see here, it's gonna drop it down in the deepest part. So, but what my thoughts are is I wanna be able to drop this deeper than this angle is allowing. So I really want to trim off this angle. So basically the thought is if the pipe's down here and this is being dragged through the ground, I am hoping that this flexes and protects the pipe. But it seems pretty stiff still, so I don't think I have to worry about it crushing the pipe. So now the question is what to do with this. There's a lot of steel there for a reason, I'm sure. Once I get that done, I may have to reinforce it. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this gap in on either side and get that reconnected. And then I'm gonna create a little wedge here to kind of help open up the ground a little bit. And then I might shorten this. This needs to be in the ground to help grab and catch, pull it down underground. So I might shorten this up a little bit and resharpen it. All right, just a little bit of an update. Basically, if I want to go deeper, I can, and this wedge will hopefully keep the dirt off of this pipe. So we're gonna go ahead and start, see if we can install the pipe now. Okay, I'm about to stop for tonight. It's almost time for me to go deer hunting, but I'm gonna test it out real quick. The only thing that I wanna take care of now is this issue, which I've got some ideas. I just don't have time to do it right now. But I'm gonna go test this out and see if it buries itself in the ground like I'm hoping. Okay, it's the next morning here. As you can see, we tested out the pipe layer. One thing that I noticed is that it didn't get more than about 10, 11 inches deep. So after doing some measuring, I basically dropped these arms. I think these arms bottomed out, and you can lower them, but I need them to go quite a bit lower. But obviously if you lower them there, you can't lift it up as high. The other option I got is to re-weld a 3-point attachment up a little bit higher, which I should have plenty of steel here to do that, and it wouldn't take me too long. And then I think that'll help me drop it down a little bit lower. Obviously I'm gonna probably put weight in here too, just to help it stay down, but I never got it more than about 10 inches deep yesterday. And from this measurement from right here to the center of right here is about 10 and a half inches, which would make sense. So that's the plan for today, and then we'll test it out again, and then we might start laying some fiber. I got the reel of fiber. I was originally going to design something to hold the reel here, and you know, if I ever wanted to kind of use this to make money, maybe I might do that. But I think for my scenario, it's going to be a lot easier if I hold the reel in the front of the tractor, and then I can let it unwind the fiber kind of up over this way, kind of over top of me. I might even put a little pulley up here, and then it'll go down into the ground. So that's kind of the idea. That's what I'm thinking. If that doesn't work, then we'll design something up here, but it has to be able to unroll fairly easy. And without doing a bunch more fabrication, figured I would just use the forks. Okay, we got all the welding done. Let's put her to the test and see if she'll go deeper in the ground. So I kind of just put together a little pulley here out of one of my kids' wagons that they broke. Or not a wagon, wheelbarrow. And the fiber should pull down. And then I got a little pulley up here, got my reel over here. But yep, that's my setup. We'll see how well it works. All right, we got the fiber pulled out to the house here. So I got some conduit ran up that post, and that's actually what I'm taking my fiber to. I'm gonna take it all the way over to the barn, come right here, go into that conduit, and there's some conduit sticking up there. That's what it's going to come out of. So instead of taking it up and around the pole, I think I'm going to tuck this piece of conduit in the ground. But right now, this is our starting point and starting depth. This will get a little bit deeper. I'm hoping to get 15 to 18 inches deep. And then we'll just drag it all the way to the barn, and hopefully my setup works. So we got the reel up here on the forks. We got a pulley up here. Got kind of a makeshift pulley here. It's going through a pipe there that 90s it, and I had these clamps from another project I did. I just clamped down on my forks to raise up this reel a little higher so it doesn't drag along anything. Should have enough. I think we got about 1,500 feet of fiber here, and it's about 1,000 foot to the barn from the pole. So hopefully we have enough. I'll be devastated if we don't have enough. So I already got a slit in the ground here I cut earlier just to see if the tractor would do it up the hill. So that should reduce some of the friction on this first part, but that's what we got so far. Hopefully this works.
So far, so good. This is working amazingly. We got it from the pole to here, and that only took about 5 minutes or less. So now we just got to take it all the way up and around the front of our property and over there to where the pole barn is.
So we put a shear pin back here on the 3-point link. That way when I hit a rock, it jolts it forward. I didn't want it to damage the tractor or the welds. So we put the shear pin in here and it worked good. We hit a giant rock, sheared the pin. I'm gonna put a new pin in it and we're gonna keep going. I know there's a giant rock here. So it already pushed it up. So we gotta make sure that fiber sits down in that crease as I keep going. I might back up just a hair.
Okay.
So, you might need to fix that link. That's important.
Okay. Now give me a thumbs up. Give me done. That's a big rock. Oh my gosh. It's a boulder. Stop. We got to get that out of there. Yep. Okay. There it is. The culprit. Here, let me help. There you go. Anyone want a giant rock? We got billions here in Kentucky. This will make a nice stepping stone. I'll get this guy out of here. We're getting close to the barn. This is how far we've come. That where the trash cans are is the driveway back to the house. I know. Great.
Okay, so that wasn't too bad at all. It was actually pretty easy. We ran over 1,000 foot of fiber from over there at the house, and it slid through the ground mostly like butter. We hit rocks. Most of the rocks would slide out of the way for us because of how sharp the wedge is. A couple of them we grabbed and, you know, either pulled them up out of the ground, or we actually blew a shear pin. I thought it would be a good idea to have a shear pin on the 3-point link. As you can see here, I actually damaged a part of my tractor because of that, so I could come up with a different design here. As you can see, this shear pin was just about to break, but yeah, so I damaged that. I'll have to get that fixed, but
it's okay.
Otherwise it worked. I'm going to come up with a different kind of link there. That way I don't want to damage that link. That one's probably pretty expensive. But for as much time as I saved, to be honest, I think it was well worth it. So like I said, that only took 30 minutes. If we were to rent an excavator, not only would we have the renting cost, but we would have been pulling up so many rocks, and then we would have had to bury it and, you know, make a mess, had to plant grass seed and all that stuff. So this wasn't too bad. I didn't get as deep as I wanted in a lot of the areas. You know, I wanted to get 18 inches, but you know, realistically, we're probably averaging almost a foot. But it's just fiber. I got it for free. We actually, looks like we have plenty left over if we ever had to run it again. But also, this might give us some plans. We're gonna put a pond in the back. I could get fiber out there even with an outside router. So the next thing we're going to do is finish pushing this up into the barn here, and we're going to fill it in with dirt. We're going to go back through here with the tractor, run over everything. Might even throw a little bit of grass seed on top of it just to ensure we got some growth for next year.
Okay, great job, babe. So this morning before we started pulling cable, James came over here with the tractor and he just ran his little doohickey machine through here to help go ahead and cut the way. So now I'm just going to go back through and move some of the dirt and actually get the fiber down in there just to finish this last 20 feet. We started filling it back in and I forgot to take a video, but James had it dug out real nice here. So we just laid the rest of the wire, and then I'll show you where he drilled through the concrete, and you can actually see where he pulled it out at the corner of the barn here. Perfect. Now I just got to finish filling all this in with dirt, and then James is going to bring over the old Massey Ferguson tractor to drive over everything and smash it down real good. And I think I hear it coming around the corner now. This is my grandpa's and my dad's old work pool. They used this when I lived on the tobacco farm and the tree nursery until I was 10. You can't even see where the trench was that we dug and just laid the wire. Wow. Unbelievable. What a beautiful day.
Okay, so we've completed putting all the fiber in here. So you can see that I got the fiber coming up right there. I'm gonna go ahead and set the router and everything right here. So I'm gonna curl up the fiber, I think right there, right in here, and then go ahead and strip some out and see if we got internet out here. Okay, we're finally finished. I got the fiber ends on, just one end on each side. These were really finicky. I had to redo both sides twice. And this one's still real finicky. If I move this at all, it actually loses connection. I have a fiber tester and I couldn't get anything better than like a 20 dB. So, but there's my setup. Got Wi-Fi out here. It's pretty fast. I think I got like 350 download and maybe like 220 upload. So that's pretty fast. And so now I can start putting up some security cameras. We've had Wi-Fi over at the barn now for a couple of months, and man, does it make a difference. The boys are satisfied while watching some cartoons, and I can look up information when I need to.